Hello and welcome to the Buy, Sell, Hold Spotlight presented by Sports Car Market Magazine. I'm Darin Roberge. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Also be sure to join in the conversation and share your thoughts by leaving us a comment below. Our guest today is Jose Romero. He is sales manager at DriverSource. Welcome back, Jose.
Hi, Darin. Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So it's been a little while since we've seen you. Why don't you kind of run down some of the latest news at DriverSource, some new programs that you have, notable sales, etc. What have you been up to lately?
So thank you. Yeah, we've been hard at work, obviously doing what we've always done, buying and selling rare sports cars focused on European makes and models, with a mix of some American cars here and there. And, we've continued on the path of online sales, bring a trailer, as well as doing our internal sales here that we do with local customers and our regular customers that we've had for several years. It's been a busy time. We've acquired a lot of cars, so our shop has been very busy prepping and doing the make ready to get these cars out to the market. So we've got some exciting news, and I'm sure we're going to talk about all that stuff during the next couple minutes.
Well, you guys have become a pretty prolific bring a trailer a dealer over the last couple of years, and that certainly has continued since we've spoken to you last. Why don't you talk about some recent interesting cars that you've offered? What have you seen change on Bring a Trailer recently? Any developments with how the comment section is being perceived? I've seen some chatter online. It seems like maybe people are starting to change their opinion slightly on what happens in the comment section and how the comment section is handled. What is your impression of Bring a Trailer versus where they were, say, 6 months ago to a year ago?
So one thing I've seen as far as results of cars being sold, I think their percentage of sales are still very high, especially as compared to the live auctions. They really do a good job with setting realistic expectations on reserves. Once in a while, a car will get out of line on the reserve and it won't sell. But I think sometimes they're throwing bait out there and seeing, maybe they haven't tried that certain type of car and they're seeing what happens. What I have noticed is the gap between just a car, just a driver quality, just, an average type listing, whether it's a dealer or individual, the gap between that car price wise or value wise to a very premium car or a premium listing from a reputable, well-known seller is getting bigger and bigger. It seems like, great cars are still going to bring top dollar. You're still going to have bidders coming out. A lot of times new bidders, you think they have all the bidders registered, and every time we list a car, there's new people being registered to bid on that certain car. So there's still high demand for quality. And the lesser cars are getting hurt a little bit. Probably not, it's probably not a correction. It's probably more that's just a saturated market in that segment. So that's kind of what I've observed. And so what we've done is focused on listing the best of the best top cars that we can get on there. And we have confidence in saying, okay, this is exactly what the car is. We stand behind it. We represent it in a way where we don't have to rely so much on the comment section, because everything that can be seen on the car, told about the car, is there. It's, we've provided you with hundreds of pictures, videos, a thorough description, copies of records, receipts. And so for us, the comment section has not affected our listings as much as probably some of the ones you're talking about, where, you get some trolls or people that have never bid on a car, and they've, got 25,000 likes and they've had an account for, 10 years or whatever. And they're just there to give their opinion or sabotage somebody's sale. And I don't get that, but it's part of it. Everybody is going to be, everybody has an internet or a computer or a phone and can hide behind it, is going to give their opinion. That's just the nature of our human nature, I guess. But yeah, I do see that that's kind of an issue or a problem, because it can sway real bidding on your car. And not just because somebody said something in your comment means that it's real. So I think where the magic of Bring a Trailer has been is that we rely on a lot of the people that are knowledgeable and experts to give their opinion on what they see. But when somebody's clearly trying to sabotage a sale, it's not cool, and it can harm your auction. So, I try never to get into the back and forth. We always state the facts. We don't give our opinion, and it's just something that's worked well for us.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that there's sort of a culture of clout chasing that is formed on Bring a Trailer with the like count and so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see if Bring a Trailer maybe tries to slow that down a little bit in the future, because it does seem to be a game for some folks to go on there and goof around and try and wreck people's sales. So you guys have not had too many of those, though, as you said. You've had some great cars that you've offered recently. Why don't you talk about some cars that you had success with on Bring a Trailer in the last few months?
So the last car we sold last week actually was a Maserati Ghibli 4.9 SS. Great car. It came from a great collection. When we got the car, it had been sitting for about 3 years. The gentleman passed away. He was a rally and tour veteran. He did all the road events and had really great stuff. And this car was a great example. It's just been sitting. So over the last 6 months, we prepared it, with the mindset that it was going to be sold on bat. And we sold it for $237, which was about, $242 all in with the 5% commission. And I thought that was a fair deal all around. We were happy with the result. The owner, or the winning bidder, was very happy with the result. I think in the market today where we stand, it's not quite a seller's market. It's not quite a buyer's market. It's more in the middle, favorable to both. I think maybe 6 months ago, that same car could have brought 25 grand more. But that said, you never know. You got to put it out there. You got to be prepared to take the money. The market spoke, and that's what it was worth today or last week. And we were happy with the result. We've got, some exciting cars coming up. We've done really well in there, as you know, with Lamborghini Countages and Ferrari Dinos. And we hadn't had a Dino up in a while. And I was asked the other day, you haven't sold a Dino for a while. And we've actually sold a lot of them privately behind the scenes. But we've got something cool in the works coming up that we're going to auction and Bring a Trailer.
Yeah, you guys have definitely become sort of Dino specialists over the last couple of years, and Bring a Trailer's contributed to that, definitely. But moving on to the real life touch and grass type of stuff. You were at the Broad Arrow Group 75th anniversary Porsche sale in Atlanta over the weekend. Why don't you kind of talk about what you were doing down there and what you noticed and what you learned?
Right. So, yeah, this last weekend was the official 75th birthday to the day of Porsche. And there was a lot of celebrations and shows all across the country. Broad Arrow did their auction in conjunction with the Atlanta Porsche Experience Center. And it was a nice event. There was a lot of people. There was a good vibe. The preview day was great. They did a really good job with the setup. There was food, there was a nice vibe. And to be honest, the cars they had this year were great. I mean, great colors, great examples, something for everyone. Some of the best condition cars that I've seen or offered. And then they also had some of the more driver quality, cars that could use a little bit more work to make them better. But, there were certain price points where it was something for everybody. We had a 944 S2 cab that I gave them last minute as a no reserve kind of filler car, and it sold well. And I was there to try to buy a few things, and it was everything I liked went way above my what I was willing to pay. So it was still good to go and observe what's going on. There was a lot of people, a lot of new people that I didn't recognize, which is good because there's new money, new people coming into the market. Bidding was great on a lot of cars, a lot of phone bids, a lot of internet bids. I think the venue being by the airport, with the airplane noise and kind of being out in the open, the sun beating down was a little tough because just logistically, people had to move around to find shade or the auctioneer was kind of fighting with the airplane noise. So I think that's kind of an issue they'll have to fix if they do it again. But overall, it was a great auction. I just saw they did about 90%, $20 million. in sales. So I think they're very happy.
Speaking of auctions, we're already looking down the barrel of Monterey Car Week. Believe it or not, it's almost here. What do you got planned for Monterey? Upcoming cars of interest there. You always have something going on the peninsula. So talk about what you're planning there.
Yeah, so we're going to have a couple of cars at shows. We always do the Legends of the Autobahn, which is a BMW focused show. We always do the Porsche Works reunion, which is obviously Porsche, and we're going to have something there. Our whole team goes out, everybody spreads out and covers all the areas of what's going on with the shows and the auctions and the socializing, networking. We're going to have cars in the auctions, kind of spread out with RM and Gooding and Broad Arrow. I can't say yet what we've got out there because we're still under finalizing contracts, but it's crazy that we're in mid-July already and we're almost 2 months away. It's just time flies. But we do look forward to seeing everybody out there and being active in all the shows and events and obviously in the auctions.
Before that coming up, you have another event. Last year, you debuted the gated collection on Bring a Trailer. This year, you're doing it again with the second installment. So kind of talk about what happened last year, what the offerings were, what the results were, and then kind of let's talk the cars that you have on offer coming up this year.
Yeah, so last year was the inaugural or first gated collection that we did, which was all Ferraris, gated Ferraris, spanning 40 years, from a Dino, Daytona, the true classics, all the way up to a 612 Scaglietti and everything in between. We had 12 cars last year in the collection. It was very well received. It sold well above our expectations overall. We did about 95%, which was 11 cars sold out of 12. And, it was about $3.4 million. Great result. We noticed that there's a true passion and hunger out there for these analog Ferraris. So this is something that we're going to do every year. It's a labor of love. It takes us a year to acquire the cars and find the cars and prepare them and kind of cultivate this collection, in a way that complements each other. There's a lot of bookends. There's a lot of, a coupe and a convertible that match. And it makes it fun for us. It makes our job fun, but it also, it creates a spotlight on whenever we're going to probably launch auctions. They're going to run for 2 weeks. And for those 2 weeks, there's a spotlight on these cars. People pay attention. Buyers get educated real fast. And we noticed that a lot of guys last year were on the fence of buying a gated car, an analog car. And when we launched the collection, they said, okay, you know what? We've watched all your media, all your marketing, and we just decided this was the time. We want the car. And so we put a lot of effort behind our marketing and our social platforms, and a lot of dollars, marketing dollars. So between what we do and what Bring a Trailer does on their end, it's just a good marriage to, put together a collection like this and offer it to, 400 plus, bidders and counting. And I think that people are going to really enjoy what we have coming up. This year, we're doing 18 cars, which has been a feat, and we're adding Lamborghinis. So obviously you have the gated Ferraris, but Lamborghini also had gated examples with the Lamborghini Countach and the Diablos. And those are cars, that's a section of the market that's been really hot. So it's going to be fun to see the Lamborghinis go up against the Ferraris. So we're going to be excited to see what happens. This auction is going to be launched early July, and it'll run through the month of July. And it's kind of a precursor to Monterey Car Week in August. So we've been hard at work doing that. It's been a labor of love, like I said. And some of the highlight cars that we have, these are cars that either they're special colors or low miles or special spec, or just high, cars that are in high demand that don't come up often. a lot of cars, for example, Ferrari 355 GTBs, a year and a half ago, they just were on fire. I mean, everybody wants a 355 GTB, and they were bringing crazy money. And then the market kind of got flooded with just average cars, average examples, high mileage, needing service, etc. And I think it's been about a year and a half that a great example has not been offered. We have a red car that has 10,000 original miles, in the wrapper, mint condition, fully serviced recently, all the records. It just got inspected for Ferrari Classique. And I think this is going to be a good test to see what a premium example is going to bring today. So we're excited about that. That's a GTB. We also have a 355 Spider that kind of marries with that car, and 360 Spider. But this collection spans 40 years. We have the first car, is a 1964, 250 GTO recreation that was built by Motorima on a 330 GT chassis. This is a car that if you wanted to build it today, it would take you, well over $1 million plus a donor car and probably 3-year build. It's built just by these experts in Sweden and Motorima. The body is perfect. It's to spec. It's a 330 chassis with a 250 engine. That's really an exciting car. We're excited to see what it brings. This is a car you can do events with, take it to Goodwood, get your FIA paperwork, FIBA paperwork, and just go and have fun. It's a blast to drive. And then we have the 308 Vetrosina, 308 GTP, a 308 GTS, kind of covers that whole 308, V8, early V8s that I think is a hot commodity right now. And as far as the Lamborghinis, we've got a Countach anniversary car with 7,000 original miles. It's a black on tan car with no wing. Very beautiful car, well serviced. And we've got two Diablos, a 95 VT coupe, also black, and a red Lamborghini VT Roadster, which is beautiful. Really, really nice condition. Testarossa, it's 512. We got both. We got a last year 91 Testarossa, and we got a very late 93 512 TR. One is red, one is black. These are cars that I think for the price point, they're very attainable. And I think they still have, as far as an investment, they still have a ways to go, but also a great 512 TR or a great Testarossa is a great car to drive. I mean, they're just so much fun to drive. And I think people are realizing that now. And they're not as bad as on maintenance as these people seem to think they are. They're just, you do your major service and then you maintain it for 5 years and you have a great car that you can use and enjoy. So there's a lot. Obviously, being heavy in the Dinos, we've got a really cool Dino that's in the collection. A 550 Maranello, which is one of my favorite all-time cars. This is a European example. Blue swatters with red interior. I mean, if you see this car, your heart melts. It's just so beautiful. And I think people are going to love this car. So yeah, I mean, we also included some barn finds, a Ferrari Mundial, convertible and a 308 GT4. These are cars that are under 50,000 or under 75,000 that, somebody on a budget that wants to enter the Ferrari world and maybe wants to do a summer project with their son or just, a mechanic that wants to tinker himself and get it going. These are great cars. I mean, they're going to be entry-level price and really a good opportunity for somebody. So, we just try to have something for everybody. And I think it's going to be a huge success and we're excited to get this collection going. And you'll be the first to know once we get all the marketing going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, we're looking forward to seeing it for sure. And kind of going down the list and kind of speccing this stuff out, like this is a really well curated collection. And the thing I keep thinking is if there's somebody out there that really wants to get into collecting Italian cars, this is the whole deal right here. I mean, you can literally get an A+ collection for yourself by going down the line on these things. And I mean, it certainly could be a possibility that somebody does that. But I mean, your TR, your Testarossa, that's a bookend situation. You basically have all of the 80s V8 cars, one after another in line. You've got the bookend Ferrari 550, which is fabulous color combination, with the F355s. You know, the two Lamborghinis, the Diablo and the Countach. I mean, it's really a well-organized, well-thought-out, well-curated collection. So what's next for you guys? What's the next special Bring a Trailer auction? Are you bringing back, Ock Motors Fest? What's kind of down the pipeline for you guys there?
You know it. Ock Motor Fest this year is going to be big. It's going to be fun. We already have most of the cars for that collection. They're in full prep mode. And being the 75th year for Porsche, it's going to be Porsche dominated, and we've got some really special cars. When that time comes, I'll send you the list. You're going to want to talk about those cars because it's really, really something special that we do in every October. It's going to be a mix of German cars, Volkswagen, Porsche, Mercedes, all the usual stuff, but we've got some really special Porsches that we've set aside for this. And that's going to be something we're going to be, as soon as this gated collection is over and we get through Monterey Car Week, we're going to be full on the Motorfest collection. So, we're busy. We've got a lot of great cars coming up. We always have a lot of, I tell people, they don't really get a glimpse of what's going on because, 70% of what's going on is behind the scenes. Which that's just the nature of it. But this month we're also selling the first Lamborghini Countach 500S on Bring a Trailer. It's going to go live, I think, this week. And this is a car that I found in a shop in California. It was owned by Carlos Cavazzo, who was the guitarist for Quiet Riot. He owned it for 35 years. I think he slept in the car at some point. And after we bought it, we found out that it was the first car built. It's the prototype 500S, and it was the Geneva Auto Show salon car in 1982, which we actually found a photo of in the archives. And the original letter, Lamborghini's letterhead press release announcing that the car was going to be unveiled at Geneva. It's in barn find condition. It's all original. That's going to be a very exciting sell. You will see what that does, but, somebody that's a real collector that has a long-term vision, and can envision doing the car, whether they just do the mechanicals and leave it original. That's one option, or they go full out and do a concours restoration. It's going to be a rewarding task for somebody because I think this is a very special car. When it's done the right way, it's going to be a piece.
Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to what you guys are up to over there, and we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Okay, Jose, you've got a lot of perspective. You guys are constantly doing a lot of stuff in a lot of different directions. So why don't you give us one car to buy, one car to sell, and one car to hold in today's marketplace?
So I've been looking at 996 Porsches. I'm a big Porsche guy. Obviously, we've talked about the 75th year for Porsche. 964s, 993s, which are my personal favorites. They're amazing cars. The great ones, the special ones, have gotten out of reach. They're bringing top dollar, and it's really hard to find a great one. And when you find it, you're going to pay for it. And I don't really recommend buying just an average car. If you can buy the best, buy the best. But the 996 cars, if you think about it, these are cars that we grew up with. When I was growing up, they were coming out, and they're if you look at the styling of them, it's going to be a car that's going to age very well and is going to become an iconic style for Porsche. And that styling of that car is still relevant today with the 997 and beyond. There's GT2s, turbos, Turbo S's, C4S's, those kind of cars. If you can find one low miles, or a very special color or paint to sample or something like that, they're very affordable for what they are. We talked about the Broad Arrow cell. There was a 996 Turbo, which was a very nice car, sold for $100,000. That car was probably 70-ish 2 years ago, 75-ish. So it's gone up a little. But if you hunt for one, if you look hard enough, there's good opportunity in that 996 Porsche sector. I have one personally. I love it. They're great to drive, really great to drive. They're easier to maintain. They're not high maintenance cars. Parts are available. The local dealers can work on them. There's a lot of local shops that can work on them. So, I've been recommending those to a lot of people, and I think they're gonna be a good car to have.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, I remember when the 996 Turbo came out, and that's, I think, the minimum one that you want for sure. You start getting into the naturally aspirated cars, and it gets a little dicey with some potential maintenance issues. But I was astonished, 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. I remember the first time I rode in one of those, I couldn't believe how fast it was, but yet it was comfortable and luxurious, and it was easy to drive and easy to live with, and all the things that you expect from Porsche. But it seemed like it was a step up in a lot of ways from the previous cars. And I'll tell you, a lot of people didn't like those the runny egg headlights, but for me, they always sort of had an exotic flair to them that was different. And I think they've really come into that part of their sort of age range now, where that's starting to make sense and people are starting to see that. So, case in point example, a GT3 or a 996 Turbo, like what should somebody realistically go out and look to spend to get one of those?
Well, it's all going to depend on mileage, on color, condition. I think, a good turbo, if you're talking about a special car, like, they have the X50 package, they have weird, cool colors. Obviously, if you want to buy an analog car, I wouldn't buy a Tiptronic, but you're going to be anywhere from 90,000 to 140,000. That's kind of the sweet spot for those cars. If you found a Turbo S, that great one, you'd probably be in that 140 to 150s range today. I think compared to what other cars are selling for, and compared to, what you're about to hear is my sale, that's a great value, for today. Also to your point about the power and, the 996, if you look at the Porsche GT1, which is a successful race car, they shared the headlights, the same headlights. And now you're talking about turbo with an X50 package. And, it's just a lot of car for the money.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think they're a bargain for sure, and they offer a whole lot in a whole lot of different directions. So what are we selling?
So your new or newer Porsche's, GT2s, GT3s. I was at a Cars and Coffee event local, and there must have been 20 GT2s, GT3s, parked next to each other. And they're great cars. I think they're beautiful. I've driven a few of them. I think they're great driving cars. They're not manual. They're PDK or paddle shift. But when I see 20 of them or 25 of them lined up next to each other, and then you look at the owners of those cars and they're all look like they're between 35 and 45. I think that market, the moment that they decide to sell, can be saturated, and those prices on those cars can tank. I think they can be the first cars to really correct. Right now, there's still high demand for that type of car. But I'm just afraid that when you're, down the line, there's going to be, anytime anybody wants one, there's going to be 40, 50, 60 of them available for sale. And obviously supply and demand, it's going to really affect the prices of those cars. Where an older classic analog car is doing the opposite. There's going to be a wider range of buyers that want to enter the space of classic collector car. And I don't see those as newer cars or classics. They're just kind of flavor of the month, And like I said, they're great cars. I know I've got friends that own them. They love them. But when you show up at an event and that's all there is, it was kind of a wake up for me.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And you definitely see those out a lot at events across the country. You see them there, you see them here, you see them everywhere, basically. So production was high on them, and at some point they're going to hit the market. So what are we going to hold?
So going back to my gated collection, analog cars, analog Ferraris, analog Porsches. I think a Ferrari 308, 328, 355, Testarossas, all those cars are great cars to hold. If I had a great car, I wouldn't sell it. You can't replace them. If you have a great example, what are you going to get? It fits a certain type of owner. It fits a certain criteria that unless you're just done with cars, I mean, there's really no reason to sell. That's a great car to own. Anything analog, anything Ferrari, anything Porsche, Lamborghini. We had a lady, surgeon, local surgeon here, in her 60s, real nice lady. She bought a modern BMW as her daily driver, 2023 M4 or something. And she owned it about a week, and she brought it in and said, I want a classic. And she traded that in for an 84 Carrera Cabriolet, which was her dream spec, dream colors. And that's her daily driver. And we're seeing a lot of that today. We're seeing, a lot of people are wanting to trade in their newer car, that's their third car, their fun car, for something classic, something analog. And I think we're just seeing the start of that. I think collecting cars is still very young, and I'm still seeing a lot of new people enter the market.
Now, there's nothing like the allure of a classic car. There's no question about that. So any final thoughts?
I appreciate the time. I appreciate everything you do for us and have done for us, and putting our word out there. And sports car market also has been great. Obviously, we have a great relationship, and it's always great to come on here and talk cars with you, Darin.
Yeah, we love to talk cars with you too. So where can people go to learn more?
So our website is driversource.com. And you can go in there and sign up for our newsletter. You can see our inventory, our coming soon list. You can see all the other services that we offer as far as storage and maintenance. And also our social media, Instagram is DriverSource. We look forward to continuing, meeting new people and putting our name out there. So I appreciate everything, and we're excited to see what the rest of the year brings.
You guys always do a great job on social. Definitely worth checking that out. And we'll link as much of that stuff in the video description down below as we can. I would like to thank Jose Romero for joining us today. To learn more about anything that we discussed here, be sure to pick up the latest issue of Sports Car Market Magazine by visiting the link in the video description down below. As a reminder, if you enjoyed this content, please take a moment to like and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay on top of future episodes. I'm Darin Roberge, and thank you for joining us on the Buy, Sell, Hold Spotlight.